Pareidolia. You look at an electrical outlet and it looks like a tiny surprised face. You look at the front of a car and it looks like it's smiling or angry. You stare at clouds and start seeing animals, or you glance at a stain on the ceiling and swear it looks like a person watching you. This is called pareidolia, and it happens to literally everyone. Your brain is wired to find faces fast, faster than almost anything else it looks for. This made sense a long time ago, since spotting a face quickly, whether friendly or dangerous, could keep you alive. So your brain built a shortcut. It doesn't wait for a perfect match. 2 dots and a line in roughly the right shape is enough to trigger face in your mind, even when you know logically it's just an outlet or a cloud. That's why the feeling doesn't go away even after you tell yourself it's not real. The face-detecting part of your brain isn't listening to logic. It just says face, and your gut believes it for a second before your thinking brain catches up. Tip of the tongue phenomenon. You know the word. You know it. You can almost feel the shape of it in your mouth. Maybe you even remember what letter it starts with, but the actual word refuses to come out, no matter how hard you try to grab it. This is the tip of the tongue phenomenon, and it's one of the most universal memory glitches there is. What's happening is that your brain stores a word's meaning and its sound in 2 separate places. When you're trying to recall a word, the meaning part loads up fine. That's why you know exactly what you're trying to say. But the connection to the sound, the actual pronunciation, is weaker or slower to fire. So you're left holding the idea of a word with no sound attached to it. This gets more common as people get older, because the connections between meaning and sound naturally get a little slower with age. The strange part is that the moment you stop trying and think about something else entirely, the word often pops into your head on its own a few minutes later. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. You hear a word for the first time in your life, some obscure term you've never come across. Then, within the same day, you hear it again on the radio, see it in an article, and someone mentions it in conversation. Suddenly it's everywhere. This is called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, or the frequency illusion. What's actually happening is not that the word is suddenly appearing more often in the world. It's that your brain just tagged it as important. Once something gets flagged in your mind, a selective attention system kicks in and starts noticing every instance of it that was already there all along. You just weren't paying attention before. Combine that with a bit of confirmation bias, where each new sighting feels like proof that something strange is going on, and you get a very convincing feeling that the universe is sending you a message, when really your own attention is just doing its job a little too well. Phantom vibration syndrome. You're sitting there and you feel your phone buzz in your pocket. You reach for it, check the screen, and there's nothing there. No notification, no missed call, nothing. This is phantom vibration syndrome, and studies suggest the large majority of phone users have felt it at some point. The likely explanation is that your brain is constantly scanning your body for sensations it expects, especially ones tied to a habit you repeat dozens of times a day. Checking your phone is one of the most repeated actions in modern life, so your nervous system builds a kind of alert pattern around it. Random nerve signals in your leg or hip, the kind that happen all the time and normally go unnoticed, get misread by your brain as the specific pattern of a phone buzzing, because that pattern is so deeply expected. It's not your phone. It's your brain guessing based on habit and guessing wrong. Highway hypnosis. You're driving home on a route you've done 100 times. Then suddenly you realize you're pulling into your driveway and you have almost no memory of the last 10 minutes of the drive. You don't remember the turns, the traffic lights, or the other cars. This is highway hypnosis, and it happens because driving a familiar route requires so little conscious effort that your brain shifts most of the task to autopilot. Your body is still fully in control, reacting to the road, braking when needed, staying in the lane. But the part of your brain responsible for laying down new memories basically checks out, because nothing about the drive is new or worth remembering. Your conscious mind wanders off to think about your day, your plans, anything else, while a more automatic part of your brain quietly handles the actual driving. It feels like missing time, but really it's just a drive with nothing new to record. Earworms. A song you haven't thought about in years suddenly plays on loop in your head, and it will not stop. You didn't choose it, you can't turn it off, and hours later it's still going. This is called an earworm, and almost everyone gets them. Songs that are repetitive, simple, and slightly unusual in their rhythm are the most likely culprits, because those exact qualities make a tune easy for your brain to loop without much effort. Your brain has something researchers call an internal jukebox, a part of your mind that can replay sound patterns from memory. Normally, this stays quiet in the background, but under certain conditions, like being mildly bored, stressed, or hearing just a fragment of a song, that internal jukebox gets triggered and starts playing on repeat, almost like a scratched record stuck in a groove. The most effective way to stop it, oddly, is usually to listen to the entire song all the way through, since incomplete songs are far more likely to loop than ones your brain feels are finished. The Zeigarnik effect. You start a task, get interrupted halfway through, and now you can't stop thinking about it. A half-written email, an unfinished show, a conversation cut off mid-sentence, they all nag at your mind way more than something you've already completed. This is called the Zeigarnik effect, named after the psychologist who first noticed that waiters remembered unpaid orders in perfect detail, but forgot them completely the moment the bill was paid. Your brain treats unfinished tasks as still active, holding a kind of mental tab open for them, using up a small amount of background attention until they're resolved. Finished tasks get filed away and mentally closed, but unfinished ones stay flagged as urgent, even if they aren't actually important. This is part of why writing a task down on a list can bring instant relief. Your brain doesn't need to keep holding the tab open once it trusts that the task is captured somewhere else. The return trip effect. The drive to a new place feels like it takes forever. The drive back, on the exact same road, in the exact same amount of time, feels like it's over in half the time. This is called the return trip effect, and it's one of the most consistent time illusions people experience. On the way there, everything is new, so your brain is working hard, paying close attention to unfamiliar turns, signs, and landmarks. All that extra processing makes time feel stretched out. On the way back, the same route now feels familiar, so your brain relaxes and processes it with much less effort. Less mental effort spent on a stretch of time makes that time feel like it passed faster looking back on it. The actual clock time never changes. Only your brain's sense of how much happened during it does. Liminal spaces. An empty parking garage at night. A hotel hallway with nobody in it. A school hallway during a holiday break, lit but silent. None of these places are dangerous or unusual on their own, yet looking at them gives a lot of people a very specific, hard-to-explain, uneasy feeling. These are called liminal spaces, places built for movement, and crowds that are suddenly empty of both. The unease seems to come from a mismatch between what your brain expects a space to feel like and what it's actually experiencing. A hallway is supposed to have people walking through it. When it doesn't, your brain flags the absence as strange, even though nothing is actually wrong. It's not fear of anything specific. It's the discomfort of a space existing outside of the purpose it was built for, caught in between one moment and the next. If you've felt any of these before, you're not imagining it, and you're definitely not the only one. If you liked this video, leave a thumbs up. But if you really liked it, hit the subscribe button for more, and feel free to comment new video ideas below.